Hello, everybody, and thank you for getting on the call. I am in a suite at a baseball game right now, so if it sounds kind of crazy, that's why. But one of the blessings of this job is that we can do it anywhere, anytime. It's not always convenient, but we can make it work. So, ladies, thank you so much for getting on. This is Christy Sweet, and her upline coach is Julie Boris, who is one of my absolute faves. She's just a rock star, and I just think she's so motivational and sweet. So if you don't follow her, look her up. She is a top coach with Beachbody and been around. How many years has she been coaching?
10
years, guys. 10 years. She knows her stuff, like for real. So Christy is a 1-star diamond and a Success Club legend. And so for those of you who may not know what legend means, it is as awesome as it sounds. That means she has hit Success Club for 2 years straight without missing it one time in 2 years. So she's going to talk to us tonight about hitting Success Club every month, what she's doing and what the secret sauce is. And also she's going to talk about Shakeology, right?
Yeah, if we have time, absolutely.
Okay, great. So I'll let Christy talk, and then at the end, I will open up for Q&A. You can also use the chat. If you don't know how to get to the chat, if you move your cursor down at the bottom, it'll say chat, and you can type in a question, or you can just unmute yourself and ask a question. And I think that's it. Christy, it's all you. I'm going to mute myself so that we can hear you clearly. Thanks for being on tonight so much, really, truly.
You are welcome. You are welcome. And trust me, this is not my forte. Speaking in front of people is not my wheelhouse. My name is Christy Sweet. I have been a coach for 4 years. And I, yes, did hit All-Star Legend, but I have hit Success Club every single month that I have since the first month I started as a coach. So I think April, which I have not hit it yet, but April will be like 43 months in a row or 40, I don't know, 40 something. So there are a lot of things I do not know about, but hitting Success Club in the last seconds of the month is something I excel at. So I'm just going to share. Unfortunately, there isn't a secret sauce, but there are a few things that you can do to kind of move ahead. So I live in Indiana. Julie Vorse is my upline. I have 3 kiddos. They are 9, 11, and 13. And they are not only in sports, but they are in travel sports. So if I'm speaking to some sports moms and travel sports moms, you know that it is on the go all the time. I too was supposed to be at a baseball game, but they couldn't secure the fields because we've had a lot of rain, so they got canceled. So I was like, great, I can stay at home. My story is pretty minimal. I don't have a huge transformation story. I don't have a rags to riches story. I don't have a living paycheck to paycheck story. None of those apply to me. I am married. We went to high school together, but started dating in college. 3 kids, like I mentioned. He is an Ironman, which means if you don't follow that sport, he trains year-round to swim, bike, and run, and he does 2 to 3 full Ironmans a year. So when I tell him I have to go work out for 30 minutes, he kind of rolls his eyes and is like, well, I have a 5-hour bike ride followed by a 2-hour run. So, and I only say that because that is just on top of our kids' schedules. We work a lot around his work schedule, workout schedule, and he does work full-time at a corporate job that he loves. And, so we do have a lot going on. I met Julie because I not only lived 10 minutes from her, but I work out at the Y that she used to teach. And I would take her PIO class because at the time my husband and I both were training for a half Ironman. We were going to do it together. So I started PIO for some cross training. Took classes with her, turbo, and a few other things for about, I don't even know, 3 or 4 years. Did not know who she was. I mean, I knew her name was Julie Vorse. Didn't know anything about Beachbody. She wasn't really allowed to talk about it there. I had no idea what she did, who she was, how big she was, nothing. She came up to me one day, and if you've ever met Julie or talked to Julie or seen her, she has a very strong presence. So she just walks right up to me and looked at me and was like, you need to be teaching. And I was like, teaching what? Like totally caught off guard. I had no idea what she was talking about. She's like, I don't know, but you need to be teaching. So that day I went home and told my husband, I think I'm going to start teaching out of the blue. So fast forward 4 years, I've been teaching PIO out of my basement. We built a home studio in my basement that fits 10 people. People come to me Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. I also teach at our local Y's two days a week. I'm certified in PIO, Core to Force, Turbo, P90X, and Size. But PIO is the only one I currently teach. So a little bit about me. I do work very closely with Julia, and that I say that because it is a blessing at times, but it is also a, not a curse, but she is very involved in what we do and very involved in helping us. And I say that because if there's something I don't know, it's my own fault, because she has moved mountains to get us all of the information that's out there. Being in the business 10 years, there's not a lot she doesn't know, although she'll say she doesn't know a whole lot. But it's my kind of responsibility to know what I need to know when I need to know it. So getting started, there are 3 things, really 4, but I'm going to start with 3 things that you have to do. And this call is probably not going to be mind chattering. There's nothing new that I'm going to say, but sometimes hearing the same thing in a different voice or a different wording might strike a different chord in you. So to start off, inviting. I know everyone kind of wants to shrivel, but it really is the base of our business if you want to move forward. And I'm sure you've heard of the BAT. Does everyone here use the BAT? If you don't, then hopefully you have another system in place that is similar to that. On the BAT, they recommend at least 5 invites a day. I'm going to tell you that if you want to move forward, that probably needs to be somewhere around 15 if you're a new coach, maybe Emerald coach, but way more than 15 if you're anything above that, because there's a lot of no's out there. And for every 10 to 15 people that you invite, maybe one of them will say yes, maybe. So if you're inviting 5 people a day, that's 25 a week. You might get 1 person to say, yes, give me more information. And if you multiply that by 4 for the month, you may have 4 people that might be interested, and that is not going to get you to Success Club, because maybe 2 of those are going to pull the trigger. Then you're ending the month at SC4, and that's probably the worst feeling in this business that you can have. So that's my first thing is inviting at least 15 people. So you're probably thinking, inviting to what? So it's not only challenge groups, and this is where a lot of, I think, coaches get stuck. Well, I don't like running challenge groups. I'm not running a challenge group. My challenge group started yesterday. So there's not only challenge groups. You can invite to, obviously, the coaching opportunity. You can invite to free groups that you might want to run. If you've ever done like a Shakeology taste test 7-day group, that's kind of a fun, inexpensive way to get people in the door. I have done things like join me for a free recipe exchange, where I'll just get people to come, and it's just getting kind of in front of people and offering them some sort of value. So a recipe exchange, that's 2 or 3 or 4 days long. And then you can, do an appetizer, dessert, main entree, and, a cocktail if that's your thing. It's mine, so I kind of talk about that a lot. And then food prep is another thing that you can invite to. Just anything outside of the box that doesn't always have to be related to fitness, because if you're a coach, you probably work out almost every day, but not everyone is able to do that, wants to do that, or has the ability to do that. So if you're constantly just inviting to a fitness or a boot camp or something like that, you might lose a lot of people who aren't looking for the fitness piece. So moving on into more inviting, if you are sitting there thinking, well, I have invited everyone in my warm market, I don't really like doing cold markets, then you're going to want to increase your following. So that's either through Facebook, through Instagram, through the 531 method, where you go and you find 5 people, you like 3 of their pictures, you comment on 1, and you do that for 50, 60 people a day. Well, Instagram only lets you friend 50 people a day, I think, right now. But so if you do that for 5 days straight, add 50 people, that's a new 250 people that you're going to be inviting or talking to or starting a conversation. You also kind of want to think about Instagram as like a store, I think. A lot of people don't like cold invites or like talking to people or inviting them that they don't really know, but it feels kind of yucky for me to see someone on Instagram and then reach out and be like, oh, I love your dog. Or, I mean, it just seems so un-me. Like, I would never do that in real life. I would never compliment someone's dog. I would never do anything like that. So in my head, I look at my Instagram as a store. And if someone is in my store, meaning they have liked a comment, they have liked a picture, they have watched my stories, they somehow took their finger and clicked follow on my page, they are in my store, and I'm going to reach out and say, hey, welcome. What, how can I help you? In whether that's a coach invite or a business invite or a challenge group invite, a free invite, just to kind of get a conversation started that way. That's how I prefer to do it. So any sort of contact that they have on my page in any way is kind of their way of walking into my store. You would never just let someone walk in and ignore them. You would say, hey, are you looking for anything special? Whatever, retail, whatever. So that's kind of just a different kind of mindset switch. It's not necessarily a cold invite. It's just inviting a different way. It kind of gives me permission in my head to reach out because they're obviously there for a reason. Something about my page or a picture or a post caught their eye, and it just opens the door for me. I also never invite someone without asking them to invite someone else. So if it's, a friend or a coworker, I always kind of talk about how it's way more fun to do it in a community base. That's why we do it in a group. And if you have a success partner, which is why we have those as coaches, your odds that you're going to get results just kind of skyrocket. So do you have a coworker or a sister or a church friend or a soccer mom or something like that you think might want to do this with you? More times than not, they're like, well, maybe, let me ask. And sometimes I will offer like some sort of an incentive, Shakeology packets or something like that for anybody that they want to refer or bring along with them, because it's just more fun to work out with friends, point blank. For inviting, I do a lot of my inviting in what I call waiting windows. I do have 3 kids, and it's pretty busy, and pretty much between the hours of 3 and 9 p.m., which is a big chunk of the day, I'm doing family stuff, whether that's kids getting home from school, it's homework, it's running kids back and forth, it's dinner, it's, all that kind of stuff. But there are many, many times where I'm sitting in the car for 10 minutes at, soccer pickup, or I can shoot off an email, or then I drive to the next one and I'm sitting there for 10 minutes. So just little pockets of what I call waiting windows where I am sending all of this out. I don't get the opportunity to sit down on my computer for 4 hours uninterrupted. It just doesn't happen. So I have to do it in little pockets of time. And I find it easier to wrap my brain around, okay, when I'm sitting in carpool pickup line, I have these 3 people that I'm going to reach out to, versus in the morning, I'm like, I have to invite 50 people. It's just, this waiting window is 5 people. This waiting window is 15 minutes, so I can probably get another 5 or 10 or, whatever. It's just kind of easier for me to get it all in. Okay, so number 2 is to be intentional. First one's inviting. Number 2 is be intentional. So the BAT, if you're using that or whatever it is that you're using, that is kind of the heart rate monitor of our business. I have people that come to my class and they'll turn on, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm working so hard. I don't know how I only burned, 200 calories or whatever. And I'm thinking, your heart rate's 57. I know you'd probably be dead, but you see what I'm saying? Like, the data doesn't lie. So when you have coaches that are like, I'm working so hard, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know how to do this, ask them to see their BAT. Or look at your own BAT, because there is a pretty good indicator on there, whether you're doing the things that you need to do in order to move the needle forward. So I would use that or some form of it to make sure you're doing what you need to do. I would also, to help with engagement, make sure you're looking at the insights of your Instagram. I think you can only do that if you have as a business page. But look at the insights. I found, I was posting when I got up in the morning at like 7 in the morning, but my demographic, which are moms and people with kids, aren't looking at their phone at 7 in the morning. They're getting ready for school. They're packing lunches. So I looked and I realized that my best rate of engagement are between the hours of 11 and 3. So I totally made one simple change, and now a ton more people are seeing my stuff. So make sure you're looking at those. When you're inviting, I also, and it's I mean, most of this is common sense, but sometimes you're just like, oh yeah, that does make a lot of sense. If your favorite program is Insanity Max 30 and you're talking about Insanity Max 30 and that's all the thing, it's all the things to you. And then you're like inviting that. And then you reach out and invite someone who maybe needs to lose 100 pounds, hasn't eaten an apple in 2 years and doesn't know anything about nutrition. Inviting them to a program like Insanity Max 30 is probably not going to be the best idea. So they probably won't want to start with that. And it might hinder your engagement on posts like that. So I guess my recommendation would be at times, obviously, be program specific, especially if it's a new launch or, something like that. Or if it's something that is 100% available or, you can do it across the board. I'm not saying they probably couldn't do Insanity Max 30, but that's a pretty intimidating program, especially if they go and Google it and they're seeing Sean yell at them and all that kind of stuff. They're going to be like, there is no way I can do that. And you may never hear from them again. So right out of the gate, maybe change your wording. And these are just tips to, if you are struggling with hitting Success Club, change your wording to maybe boot camp is intimidating to them. Maybe it's you just make it a little more finessey, like fitness, fit club, or, something like that, so that it's not so scary. And you might get a little bit more people willing to reach out or comment or like, or maybe, yeah, I'll take some more information. But if you're that person I was talking about and you ask them if they want more information on Insanity Max 30, they're going to be a hell no because it's scary. And sometimes being in fitness, we don't realize, or maybe we don't remember where we started. When you aren't where you want to be, and doing jumping jacks and stuff like that is hard. And then you ask them to do Insanity Max 30, it just doesn't work out. So little tip for that. Again, ask people who they can invite. And you're going to get no's. You're going to get no's. But I always think about it as when you're out for dinner and the waitress comes and asks if you want another margarita, and you're like, no, thanks, I'm good. You're not turning her down. You're turning her down what she's offering. So when people tell you no, you really have to just let it go, because they're not necessarily turning you down. They're just turning down what you're offering. And maybe in a few months, you're going to be ready for another margarita, and then you're going to reach out. But you have to kind of take the emotion out of the invite, and you have to take the emotion out of the outcome, because it's not going to move you forward. And if you get stuck there, it's really hard to get out of that sometimes. It's all a numbers game. You've heard that before. The more people you invite, the more yeses you're going to get. And the more no's you're going to get. But if you're inviting 3, 4, 5 people and you're struggling hitting Success Club, you've got to invite more people. It's kind of that black and white. I would have a really good follow-up method, whether that's Google Streak if you use that, whether that's Teamsy, that's what I personally use, whether it's your own kind of Google Doc that you do. But a really good follow-up. The old saying, the fortune is in the follow-up, and I don't know how many customers slip through the cracks because you aren't writing their name down, or using a service that will throw their name in front of you every time you ask it to. So have a really good follow-up system and use it, whether that's pen and paper, it doesn't matter, but make sure you're really, really consistent with it. And then post more of what you like. If you work out because you're a coach and they tell you to post workout pictures or videos, but you only enjoy the last 10 minutes because you're almost done, you don't necessarily post your workout videos. Post what you like to do, whether that's cooking, or plating food, or the community of Beachbody, or live events, or meeting your success partners for lunch, or creating graphics. Like, those are the things that you want to talk about and post about, because that energy is going to come through on your posts. If you're posting about doing the Insanity Max 30, speed 2.0, and you look dreadful and you talk about it dreadful and you're so hard, like no one's going to get on board for that. So talk about things that you like to do, and then let everything else kind of unfold, kind of when it needs to. I hate cooking, so I don't ever really talk about cooking unless I want people to laugh at me, which is fine because, I'm the worst cook ever. So I don't really talk that much about food. Okay, so here, part 3, are kind of some tangible hows. These are things that I do. I am notorious for, dead serious. Last month, last day of the month, 11 o'clock. The last time I did it was Halloween, which was obviously October 31st. I followed my kids around on Halloween on my phone while they trick-or-treated because I had not yet hit Sex Club. I've done it. And because I get to the beginning of the month and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so much work. And then I take, the first 1 or 2 weeks off. And then it's April 15th and I'm like, I'm only at SC4. So this is who you're talking to. Real life, it is not easy, but it is 100% attainable and it's 100% doable. So here are the things that I do every month. Obviously invite your new leads as soon as you get them. If you're not Emerald and you don't hit Success Club, then you don't get leads. But if you get leads, I think those are the requirements. It's been a long time since I've looked, but I think those are the requirements. You want to send an email, at least a day or two. Introduce yourself, very simple, 2-3 sentences. Keep it short, because if they don't respond back, then that gives you the opportunity to reach back out, give a little bit more information about, what you have to offer, some challenge groups, that by then maybe you could ask if they had a, time to find something on Beachbody On Demand that they liked. Yes, I know there's a ton of information. How can I help you? This is my only job. Make sure you mentioned you're free and your help is, whatever you can offer them of value. If you have not used that, oh my gosh, I don't even know what they call it. The new link where it tells you who does Shakeology, who does Beachbody On Demand, who does, what's that called? Anybody? You know what I'm talking about? Anyways, I can't think of what it's called. But it's under your downline. It's in your back office under your downline. It's brand new, within the last 3-4 months. And you can simply click on, hold the Beachbody On Demand and slide it into the box. And all of your customers that have Beachbody On Demand will appear. And then you can email all of those people that are getting ready to come up for a renewal and say, this is the best time to add the nutrition piece. You've totally been rocking Beachbody On Demand for a year. Why don't you, if you're going to renew for $100, this is the only time. It's exclusive to new members, which you can cancel their old membership, re-sign up fresh with a new challenge pack, get Shakeology for, just the additional $60, try it for 30 days and see what you think. A lot of times people are like, oh, I didn't want to spend $130, but that's because we haven't explained the value. But for $60, yes, it's totally doable. I hear a lot. They hear it almost at the end of every program that they do. A little bit of, Darren O'Lean pops on. So they know about it. So that is something else I would recommend. Every single person that likes your pictures, comments on your pictures, and is watching your story every single time. Not it like they don't have to watch the entire story, but if they are constantly watching your story, reach out to them. You don't have to invite them every single day, obviously, but you're going to be like, hey, thanks for watching my story, and then maybe comment on something that they've done, or so that they know there's the beginning of an interaction. And it makes more sense when you do reach out the following week and saying, hey, I know you've been watching me. Is there something, however you invite, whatever that looks like for you. I, try to invite how you want to be invited, whether if you see a hey girl message and throw up a little bit in your mouth, then don't send a hey girl message. Seriously, so if you're a hey babe or if you're a hey sister, none of that's me. That's why I just smile when it comes out of my mouth, because I just feel like it's ridiculous. But invite how you want to invite. Short, sweet, to the point, 2 or 3 sentences. No vomiting of the words, just however you would want to be invited. It doesn't have to be, crazy. I try to do a poll every single day on my stories that is unrelated to Beachbody. So I don't know. We just went skiing in Breckenridge. So I'm like, hey, who likes to ski? Snow ski, water ski, And all that does is, one, get engagement, get used to people clicking on your stuff and that sort of thing. But it also gives you new people to go out and make sure you're following them so that you can go like their comment or like their picture, comment on their stuff, that sort of thing. So again, there's that back and forth. Doesn't have to be verbal, but back and forth kind of interaction so that people know you're taking notice of them, because people like that. So I try to do that every single day. I try to do one post on my stories, all stories. I'm a big story fan, about something that adds value, whether that's, I'm kind of on a kick right now about using recycled peanut butter jars, because I use them for everything, holding stuff and all kinds of stuff for the summer, packing lunches. So every single day I've been trying to do a kind of a tip for an empty peanut butter jar. If you have tips for cooking, tips for cutting onions, just something that adds value that keeps them coming back. Like, oh, that's helpful. If you got a awesome new water bottle and you got it from Target, like, shout it out. Which leads me to my point, is to tag whatever you can in any story that you can. If you are, in my PIO classes, if I post a picture about PIO, I always tag like my mats from Lululemon. So I always tag them. Tag your shoes, tag your clothing. If you're in pictures with other people, always tag as many people as you can, because your post then gets filtered through their feeds as well. So it's just more eyeballs, and it's really easy to do and takes very little time. Let me see. And then last but not least, I do offer incentives if it comes to that. I try not to, just because it's more money. But I do offer incentives, but it's always Beachbody related. Like, I don't ever offer, not that you can't, but like $25 gift card or, Amazon card or Target card. It's always Beachbody related, whether that's you going on the Beachbody sales site. And I've gotten a ton of Beachbody balls and hand weights and stuff like that were like $1.25. So I'll give stuff like that. I'll give packets of like a little packet sample, which would be Energize, Recover, or, a Shakeology sample, or Beach Bars are really big. So if I'm buying those things, obviously it gets volume for me, and then it's getting more product into those hands. So it's kind of a win-win. And everybody likes free stuff. And let's face it, Shakeology never goes on sale, ever. Like, it's never on sale. So, and everybody only thinks they're getting a good deal if they buy stuff on sale. At least I do. So if it never goes on sale and they don't want to buy retail, then getting them to get other products that are free to them, they hear the word free, and it's just kind of like, okay, well, I'm kind of on the fence, and I'm going to try all this other stuff. Great. And so, sometimes that will work. The last tip I have is, do not lead with the 30-day money-back guarantee. Because as soon as you drop the money-back guarantee, it already kind of sparks doubt in their mind, like there's always an out. It's like going into the door, shutting the door, but making sure you always have a way out. Because your job as a coach is to, for the next 30 days, show them value of what they're drinking. And we're going to get in, I can talk even faster for that part. So the fourth and final thing is, and this is probably the only reason that I hit Success Club every single month. And it's when I first became a coach, and Julie put me in a group with me, 2 other coaches, and her. And we had a thread, and she said, if you guys want to work this business, if you do not want to be a discount coach, Success Club, here it is, I know you've heard it before, is non-negotiable. It is non-negotiable. And I don't know if she opened my brain and put it in there and then closed it, but from the first month that I was a coach, it has been non-negotiable, meaning nothing else happens on the last day of the month until I've hit Success Club. And it's just kind of like that analogy. I know you've heard it, where, if your house is burning down and your dog is in it, you're going to get in the house. But if nothing's in it, you're going to let the house burn because nothing of value is in there. But if you want it bad enough, you just have to keep inviting and keep inviting and keep inviting, and the ripple effect will eventually pan out. But if you're not tracking it, like the bat or something, you have no way of knowing if you're really overwhelmed, or if you're really just not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And if you feel overwhelmed a lot, then I also suggest that your PD maybe be something that you need, which is like time management, or, something along those lines to help you work on organizing and prioritizing your goals so that you can move forward with the business that you said. I mean, obviously you're on this call listening to some random person in Indiana tell you about how to do this. So you want to do something, right? So that's kind of Shakeology in a nutshell. Hopefully you got a couple things that you might want to do, or that, that might help you. But the big thing is inviting and being intentional about it. And at the end of the day, making it non-negotiable. So that's it.
Well, thank you, Christy. That was amazing. I got some really good nuggets here. So, okay. So I love the idea of making sure you're not only ever inviting to challenge groups, that you have other things you're doing. I'm sorry, I'm eating broccoli and carrots. Hopefully I don't have broccoli in my teeth. But I love that idea. And I loved the free recipe exchange. I thought that was a cool idea. And then in my mind, I started thinking, wouldn't it be fun to have like a potluck and see who can bring the healthiest and most delicious dessert? And have like a prize, right, for like a healthy dessert and then everybody could vote on which one was the most delicious and share recipes. So ladies, anybody, if you have any questions, you can unmute or you can type them in the chat box. So just say, hey, I have a question. And then I like the always ask them if they know somebody else, because not only, and you're right, most of the time people will go no, but then all of a sudden, first of all, you've planted a seed, and second of all, they're going to be somewhere later on and somebody's going to say, oh, you're starting something, I need to do something too. And they're going to go, oh, I was told I could invite somebody, right? And so I think that's a pretty amazing thing. And I don't know if everybody saw that BAT is the business activity tracker or success club tracker. At first I was like, the BAT, what is the BAT? Which was weird because I'm at a baseball game. So I just kept thinking BAT, I was very confused. It took me a minute, but I got it.
Okay.
And then, of course, the follow-up, having your follow-up method. I mean, I'm a pen and paper. I write everything down. I've tried all the trackers. I'm not pen and paper for me personally. I have a separate notebook where everybody that I'm going to follow up with is in a separate notebook. And so once a month, they're going to get something from me. And so I have my inviting notebook and then I have my follow-up notebook. I like the poll every day on Instagram that doesn't have to do with Beachbody to increase engagement. And then, and don't lead with the money back guarantee. I tend to do that sometimes if I feel someone starting to doubt, so that's a good point. Anybody? Oh, I see some ideas to keep people wanting Shakeology. I lose people after the first couple months. Well, so one of the things that our group just did, and Sue, who's on here with the beautiful red curly hair, she made us a loyalty card. And so we're sending it out to everybody who signs up. And so after 6 months, we're offering a Shakeology canister. And then after 12 months, $25 off your next Shakeology or gift card as well. So that was just one of the ideas we had. Anybody else have any? Christy, do you?
So Shakeology is a big beast. And if I have a whole presentation that I did for my team, well, Sparta Nation, it was like an hour long on Shakeology and all of the boosts, because I use them all, every single one. But I've done a lot of research, because one reason is because I wanted my husband to drink it because he was using all this random stuff. And Beachbody was, that supported Ironman for a year. They were one of their endorsers. So I was like, why aren't you using this? And he's like, well, I don't know if I can. So I spent a lot of time researching. And I would be happy to talk to you guys again. But if you have not listened to Shay Stanford's
Yeah.
Has everyone listened to that? Shay Stanford. It's SHAY Stanford.
Yeah, I have.
Oh my God.
I'm a huge fan of hers. Yeah.
Huge. Like it's a game changer for your armor of talking about Shakeology. But it's Shay Stanford, Shakeology 1.0, and then she has a Shakeology 2.0. But she is the Shakeology queen. And there's nothing that I could tell you on here that she does not explain better, but she explains everything about, when people say like, oh, that's not FDA approved, well, neither are Fruit Loops, and you feed those to your kids every single day. So, I mean, it's just kind of like real life science about of what is Shakeology. She explains the different synthetic vitamins and minerals that are in the regular versus the non-synthetic that are in the vegan. So if people want to know what's the real difference between, regular and vegan, it's not just the pea and animal proteins. It's a whole slew of things that make those different. It's got an expiration date for a reason because it's whole food. You can't just leave it out and because it will go bad. It is not for everyone. That's something that's kind of misleading. It is not for everyone. It is made for the average person that has an average, inconsistent, non-clean diet. So when you're talking to all these people and they're like, yes, it doesn't work for me. I do have all these problems. It's possible because it's not meant for everyone. It is not a protein shake. If you ever market it as a protein shake, or if you ever say, it's our protein shake, you're losing 50% or more of your possible perspectives because not everybody needs a protein shake. The same reason peanut butter isn't, commercialized as a protein butter. It's because there's just other stuff in it. There are over 20 things in Shakeology. This is just kind of my last point. 20 things in Shakeology that help with inflammation. And if you know anything about the itises, so like any disease that ends in itis, I mean, there's tons of them, like colitis for one. Like it helped. Those are all inflammatory based diseases, and Shakeology has over 20 things that help reduce inflammation. So when you have all these people that are suffering from arthritis or the slew, it's tons of people, but it will help them. So it doesn't cure anything, but it does help lots of different ailments in people. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so everybody raise your hand if you'd like another call with Christy in the future about Shakeology. Yeah. So I would definitely love to get you on and hear all of it, because I'm a big researcher too. And it sounds like you've even taken it further. And so I'm excited to learn that because, I'm the same way. I want to, I'm a knowledge junkie. And I know there are several of us in here. So I definitely, if you would ever be interested, would love to do a Shakeology call as well.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I mean, it's just mind blowing, like how awesome it is. And then when people, it'll just give you ammo for the pushback on the price,
right?
Pushback on why you have to drink it daily. Just the pushback on, I already eat clean and I'm a really clean eater. Well, if you're not eating over 27,000 calories of clean food a day, you're not touching the nutrition that's in Shakeology. So try eating 27,000 calories a day consistently. Like it's not possible. So it's a really incredible product.
Yeah. So does anyone have any other questions about inviting? I think that was really awesome. And what? Oh, I already read that. And I'm so grateful, Christy, that you came on tonight. And what good timing to be in the last week of the month, right? And I'm at 4 myself. So are you still there? I see you. Are you there, Christy? We may have lost Christy. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, okay. It's so funny to watch all the heads go up. Sorry, I may have lost Christy though. But ladies, I will definitely get Christy on again about Shakeology because she sounds like she is a wealth of knowledge. Thank you so much to everyone for coming on tonight. And I have recorded this, So if anyone on here would like a copy of it, you can send me a message or send Christy a message and she can get a hold of me. My Facebook is Jennifer Kearney Palmer, which is Kearney. And you can reach out and I will send you that YouTube if you'd like to share that with your coaches. So thanks again, guys. And if nobody has any more questions, everybody have a blessed night.